Thank you so much. When my family started in radio in 1938, the way they got their start, we started singing in all the churches in our part of the country over there in driving distance in West Virginia. And my mother was a real high singer. My daddy was one of the finest bass singers, country bass singers, anywhere around. And of course then there was the three girls. So we had a family group and all of us sung together. We'd sing the old-time hymns that were part songs, where the bass would lead a little bit and then the high tenor would lead. And that's the kind of gospel songs that we sung the most of. And I know when we went to Harrisonburg, Virginia, the way we got to be on the radio station there, my family entered a contest Mrs. Eleanor Roosevelt was sponsoring called a folk music show she was having here in Washington, D.C. This was in 1938. So we entered that contest in West Virginia. And in our section, in our region there that we were in, my family won the contest. Then after they had all of the contests, they brought all the winners together for one big contest. My family won it. So they brought us to Washington, D.C. in 1938, representing our home state of West Virginia for the National Folk Festival. And my folks, of course, as I said, we sung gospel songs, but we sung a lot of the old-time gospel songs that they didn't know. Some of them were folk songs, like Scottish folk songs, they called them. And they didn't know who had written some of them. So we came over here and spent a week. We sang at the different auditoriums around on the different shows that she had set up. And then we went back home, and going back home, we stopped at this radio station in Harrisonburg, Virginia, called WSVA. And my dad went in, and he talked to the manager and told him where we'd been, so they asked us to sing a program that was on I believe it was on a Sunday afternoon we was coming back. So we went in and we did a 15-minute program singing our songs. And then the manager asked my dad if we could do a show there every day. So two of the girls, I had just graduated. The other two girls were in school. My dad said, no, said we can't come over here every day. It was 75 miles from where we lived. He said we can't come every day, but we might be able to come over here once a week, like on Saturdays. So we went over and we started doing Saturday shows for them. And then the request came in for us to appear like at the churches and the high schools, the lawn parties they were having down there. Then school was out, so my dad decided, well, we'll go over and we'll be on every day. So that's how we started in radio in Harrisonburg, Virginia. One day, it would be my turn to sing a solo, and the next day, Jerry's turn, and the next day, Peggy would sing. Here's one of the songs that was my featured solo, 1938, when we went to Harrisonburg, Virginia. And I'll tell you some more about it when I finish here, too. In the beautiful hills, in the midst of Roane County, it's where I have roamed for many long years. There's where my heart's been tending most ever. There's where the first step of misfortune I made. I was about 20 years when I courted and I married. Amanda Gilbreth was then named my wife. Her brother stabbed me for some unknown reason. Just 3 months later I had taken Tom's life. For 25 years this old world I rambled. I went to old England, to France and to Spain. I picked up my gear, caught a ship the next morning. I came back home and was caught again. I was captured and tried in the village of Kingston. Not a man in the county would speak one kind word. When the jury came in with the verdict next morning, a lifetime in prison were the words that I heard. When the train she pulled out, her mother stood weeping, and sister, she stood all alone with a sigh. The last words I heard was, Willie, God bless you. Was Willis, God bless you, God bless you, goodbye. When the train it pulled out, it was about 11:30, and the chains they were tight and the handcuffs were tight. When the train left the station about 11:30, Willie, God bless you, God bless you, goodbye. As you notice, that is a man's song. A man's supposed to sing that song, but back then it didn't matter if a woman sung a man's song because it just was that way. Nowadays, a woman wouldn't sing that song without changing the words around. It's a true song. Roy Acuff and his group came to Harrisonburg, Virginia in 1938, and there was a week of little theaters around in that section that they played, and they stayed in Harrisonburg, Virginia, and would drive out these few miles to these different towns. So he came up and he was a guest on my family's program each day of the week that he was there. And I sang that song one day, and Roy Acuff said, I've got to have the words to that song. So I sat down, and he said, in return, I'll give you the words to Sparkling Blue Eyes. So we traded songs. He gave us the words to Sparkling Blue Eyes, and I gave him the hills of Roane County. He went back to Nashville, Tennessee. In a couple, 3 weeks, we got a letter from him. And he said that I couldn't sing the song on the radio station because it had true names in it. Kingston is a city or a small village in Tennessee. Roane County is the county that Kingston is the county seat of. And Danny Gleason, who was the man on the train, Amanda Gilbreth, the man that he had married. Of course, Willie was his name, Willis. And all of those names were names of folks, and so they wouldn't let them use it on the radio station. Roy Acuff got a man and had the man to write another song, and you'll remember it when I tell you. He wrote it almost the same story, just changed the story a little, used exactly the same tune, and had a hit record with a song called Precious Jewel. Yeah. Right. All right. Thank you, Stoney.
All right, I think.